The cafeteria of the Galactic Youth Academy hummed with the chittering, clicking, and melodic voices of 1,000 species. Anna sat alone at a corner table, her human features drawing curious stares from her alien classmates. She had been at the academy for 3 cycles now, one of only 5 humans in a school of 8,000 students from across the known galaxy. She didn't mind the isolation. Earth had prepared her for far worse than loneliness. Across the room, a group of Valkyrian students whispered among themselves, their crystalline eyes fixed on the human girl. Valkyrians were apex predators on their homeworld, a peaceful garden planet, where the most dangerous creature was a herbivore the size of a small dog. They had evolved intelligence without ever knowing true fear, and it made them arrogant. "Look at her," hissed Zexter, the leader of the group. "Soft skin, no natural armor, no claws. How did such a weak species ever achieve space travel?" His companions laughed, their confidence bolstered by the fact that Valkyrians stood nearly 7 feet tall and possessed strength that surpassed most species in the academy. Anna was barely 5'6", with a slender frame that looked fragile compared to the towering aliens around her. "I heard humans come from a Class 12 planet," said another Valkyrian, his voice dripping with disbelief. "But that must be propaganda. No species from a death world could look so harmless." Zexter's eyes gleamed with malicious intent. "Let's test that theory." Anna noticed them approaching, but continued eating her meal, a collection of foods that would have been toxic to half the species in the room. Her metabolism could process substances that would kill most galactic citizens, a fact that had surprised the Academy's medical staff during her initial screening. Human, Zexter loomed over her table, his 3 companions flanking him. "You're in our spot." Anna looked up calmly, her brown eyes meeting his without fear. "The seating chart says this area is open to all students." "The seating chart doesn't account for natural hierarchy," Zexter growled. "Weak species defer to strong ones. That's how the galaxy works." Around them, other students fell silent, watching the confrontation. Most species in the academy came from worlds where aggression had been bred out over millennia of peaceful evolution. Bullying was rare, but when it occurred, it was usually Valkyrians at the center of it. Anna stood slowly, gathering her tray. She had no interest in conflict. Earth had taught her that violence was always costly, even when you won. "I'll move." But as she turned to leave, Zexter's hand shot out, shoving her backward. The tray clattered to the floor, food scattering across the pristine white tiles. "Not so fast," he sneered. "I think you should clean that up with your tongue." Something shifted in Anna's demeanor. The tension in her shoulders, barely noticeable before, became evident. Her breathing changed slower, deeper, more controlled. Those who knew human biology would have recognized the signs. Adrenaline flooding her system, heart rate increasing, muscles preparing for fight or flight. But the Valkyrians didn't know. They had never encountered a species that could voluntarily trigger their own combat biochemistry. "Please don't do this," Anna said quietly, her voice carrying a warning that Zexter was too arrogant to hear. He reached for her shoulder, intending to force her down to the floor. His hand never made contact. Anna moved with a speed that shocked everyone watching. She caught his wrist mid-motion, twisted, and used his own momentum to send him stumbling forward. Before he could recover, she swept his legs out from under him, and the 7-foot Valkyrian crashed to the ground with a resounding thud that echoed through the silent cafeteria. His companions rushed forward, but Anna was already moving. She ducked under the first one's wild swing, drove her elbow into his solar plexus, a vulnerable spot she had identified in Valkyrian anatomy during her biology classes, and spun away as he collapsed. Gasping for air, the 3rd Valkyrian hesitated, suddenly aware that he was facing something far more dangerous than he had anticipated. Anna didn't give him time to reconsider. She closed the distance in 2 quick steps, grabbed his arm, and used a joint lock that would have been impossible for most species to execute with their different skeletal structures. He cried out in pain and dropped to his knees. The 4th Valkyrian turned to run, but Anna was already there, her hand on his shoulder. "Don't," she said simply, and something in her eyes, something ancient and predatory, made him freeze. Zexther struggled to his feet, rage and fear mixing on his face. "What are you?" Anna's expression softened, the combat readiness fading from her posture. "I'm from Earth," she said. "Gravity, 1.0 standard, but our standard is your heavy. Atmospheric pressure that would crush most of your bones. A sun that bombards us with radiation that causes cellular mutations. Predators that can run faster than your species' top speed, bite through bone, and hunt in coordinated packs. Weather patterns that can level cities. Geological instability that makes the ground itself a threat." She paused, letting her words sink in. "We evolved alongside nightmare creatures in a world that tried to kill us every single day. We didn't become intelligent despite being weak. We became intelligent because we had to be smarter, faster, and more adaptable than everything trying to eat us. By now..." A crowd had gathered, including several faculty members. Professor Telvin, a wise Aquarian scholar, stepped forward, his tentacles rippling with what Anna had learned to recognize as approval. "Are you injured, Miss Anna?" he asked. "No, sir." "And your opponents?" "Bruised egos, mostly. Nothing permanent." Professor Telvan's eye stalk swiveled to regard the Valkyrians, who were slowly getting to their feet. "Gentlemen, you have just learned an important lesson about Deathworld species. They do not survive because they are the strongest or the fastest. They survive because they are the most dangerous when threatened. Dismissed. We will discuss your conduct in my office." As the crowd dispersed and the Valkyrians limped away, a voice spoke from behind Anna. That was impressive. She turned to find Alexander, another human student, standing there with a slight smile. He was taller than her, with dark hair and the same understated confidence that marked all Deathworlders. "You were watching?" Anna asked. "The whole time. I was about to intervene, but you clearly didn't need help." He extended his hand. "Alexander Chun, 3rd-year xenobiology student." Anna shook his hand, noting the careful control in his grip, another Deathworlder trait, always aware of their own strength. "Anna Rodriguez, 1st year." "Welcome to the Academy," Alexander said. "Word of advice. They'll leave you alone, though. Most species here think conflict is theoretical. Once they see what we're capable of, they remember why humans were invited to join the Galactic Council in the first place. Because we're dangerous? Because we survived a death world," Alexander corrected. "And anything that can survive Earth can survive anything the galaxy throws at it. We're not here to conquer or intimidate. We're here to remind the galaxy that survival isn't guaranteed, it's earned." Anna smiled, feeling, for the first time since arriving at the Academy, that she truly belonged. Not despite being human, but because of it. In a galaxy of species that had evolved in safety and comfort, humans were the reminder that the universe was vast, dangerous, and unforgiving. And sometimes that reminder was exactly what the galaxy needed. The end.